as I mentioned, everybody will know that tonight we'll be reflecting on Dua 7 with Sheikh's guidance.
So first was management, huh? Because I myself get confused.
So the first couple of lessons you did Sahifa first.
Okay.
And the next couple of lessons you did management first.
Okay.
So I guess people are happy with whatever you decide.
Okay. So maybe we do Sahifa first.
Yeah, Dua 7, right?
Yes. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, we start tonight first with Sahifa, and as you know, we have had a few sessions as introduction, and we said from this session we will go into the actual content of Sahifa. And today I thought we would start with dua number 7, because this is very relevant dua, and actually one of Maraja today advised that it's a good dua that the mu'mineen do it, in this time that there is this worry about coronavirus. But we have lots of other needs that we need this dua also for. Another dua which is for times of difficulties, dua 54, which, as I told you, I had reflections on it on this dua in Manchester. That is also available, alhamdulillah. Before I start, I would like to mention something that is our general approach to du'as in the time of difficulties. This life can never be free from difficulties. And we already talked about this in previous courses. This is the nature of this world. And actually, this is needed for our progress. What is important is what types of sufferings we have, and who is responsible for our suffering. So you cannot say, I don't want any suffering at all. If you don't want any suffering, it means that you have not understood the purpose of this life, and you don't want to actually remain in this life. There must be some kind of difficulty, suffering, but am I causing this suffering to myself and other people? Number 2 is what areas I am suffering in. Am I suffering in my relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in my iman, in my akhlaq, in being a good person, being a moral person, being a caring, I don't know, father or mother or husband or wife or neighbor or colleague? Am I suffering in these areas? Or I am suffering in some worldly matters, not in some moral, spiritual, religious matters? Is my musibah in my deen, or my musibah is my dunya? Is my musibah is my money and body, or my musibah is my heart and mind? Do I suffer from confusion and misunderstanding and doubts? Or I am suffering from, for example, some issues in my health or in my poverty or job, whatever. So who is causing this? And what areas I am suffering in? These are two things that make people different. Otherwise, more or less, everyone suffers. I am sure many times you think, especially those who are younger, that it seems there are people who never suffer. When I look at them, everything is perfect. But this is the way you think. If you go enter into lives of people, you see everyone has his own problems. And sometimes they don't understand, sometimes they understand, but they don't share with other people. There is no need to share with everyone our problems. Amir al-Mu'minin salam says, رَضِيَ بِالظُّلِّ مَنْ كَشَفَ عَنْ ذُرِّهِ. If you mention all your problems to people, then it means that you are happy to be losing your honor. Because it's not that everyone is a good mu'min to keep his or her opinion exactly before talking to them about your problems. Some of the people, whether they like it or not, they change their attitude when you share with them your problems. Some are unfortunately like that. So you don't need to say everything to everyone. So everyone has some problems. One person who was very spiritual in Tehran, and many people considered him as a kind of arif. He was a student of Ayatollah Ansari Hamadani, although he had not studied that much. He used to say that if we ask people to bring all their problems and put it in a very large, place, like a big plane, and we ask people to bring your problems and leave it there, so that everyone can see what problems people have and they are all together. And then we will tell them, now we give you choice to choose. You can choose your own problem or problem of any other person. He says everyone, if sees the problems of other people and has understanding of his own or her own capacity, would say, my problems are the best problems for me. I cannot deal with the problems of other people. So, there are issues. We cannot have no problem at all. But the best is if we don't find ourselves responsible after objective, careful examination, not after just quick, dismissal of my responsibility, but after careful and objective, I find, alhamdulillah, I have not caused this. This is the best thing. Later, then we can work on how to benefit. So problems are there. We should never be despaired. Mu'min would never despair. And actually, our teachings is that when the situation is very, very difficult, and every person may get despaired if they are not believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mu'min in that time has more hope. So when people without faith become very despaired, mu'min finds that's the best way to hope, the best time to hope. Because this is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works, that He would not interfere and intervene for every small problem. He wants us to be responsible. He wants us to solve our problems. But when it reaches the point of being desperate, when it reaches the point of istirar, then he would intervene. Therefore, in some hadith says, "Kun lima la tarju, arja minka mimma tarju." When you have no hope, be more hopeful compared to the time that you have hope. And the example is the example in the hadith, example of Prophet Musa, ala nabiyina wa alayhi wa sallam. When he was traveling in dark night with his family, it was dark, it was cold. His concern was safety of family. Then what happened? The best experience in his life happened, and that was he saw the fire, he went to take some fire, but Allah talked to him. That was the first time that Allah talked to Musa alayhi salam. He had no hope for such a thing. For him, just survival was enough. But that, or the Queen of Saba, when she went to Sulaiman, she just went to save herself and her nation. But then she was able to embrace faith and become believer. So we have to be very hopeful, especially in difficult times. I told you, I think once, that when it comes to also doing tawassul to Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, I believe that generally speaking, we should not expect Imam alayhi salam to interfere in every matter and say, okay, you are my Shia, I should help you. You are my community, I should help you. Because in this way we become very dependent and maybe lazy. And also then other people would not be finding this, a right way of being, tested. So Imam alayhi salam has his role in the time of ghaibah, which is to guide but without being noticed, to help without people being able to point at him that he did this. So for most part, maybe 99%, he does things without anyone understanding he is doing this. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does everything, but millions of people will say there is no God. Who is doing all this? Because he keeps a hijab, he keeps a veil. He doesn't want to impose himself to our understanding so that no one can deny him. So Imam Mahdi is like this in the time of ghaibah. But there is a way. This is a secret. There is a way to bring Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif to your personal or community or humanity in general life. Between Imam in the condition of ghaibah and this public life that we have, there is a kind of passage, there is a kind of corridor through which Imam can interfere in our public, in our worldly life or spiritual life in the time of ghaibah. And that is emergency entrance. We have emergency exit, but we have for Imam Mahdi emergency entrance. He can enter through this emergency entrance to this life that we have and help us. But it must be emergency. You have to be mustar. When you are mustar and desperately ask him for help, he would come and help. Some people are very clever. They quickly realize that they are desperate. So they get all the time help from Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Some people have to see a tragedy that kills millions of people, then they feel desperate. Otherwise they think, we can manage, we can manage, we can manage. This is one of the worst problems for mu'mineen, if they think they can manage. You cannot manage anything. You cannot even guarantee that next day you are going to wake up. We are so vulnerable, so weak, so dependent. What can you manage? You cannot even say, I am going tonight home. Who knows? So we have to increase our understanding of our need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our need for hujjah of Allah, and being in desperate situation. Unfortunately, most of the time, we think everything is all right, we don't need Imam. We will be happy if he helps us, but we don't need, we can manage ourselves. Alhamdulillah, we have community, we have people, we have money, we have guidance, but this is not the right condition. Mu'mineen should feel that like an ill, a poor, a stranger, abandoned person, they need their Imam. This should be my condition. Like I am a child who has been left on the street, I need my parent. The way that we feel our need for Imam must be like this. So if you feel like this, then Imam has the chance to come and help you. You see, in the course of history, many people have reported, and some of them, I'm not saying everyone, but some of them we are 100% sure that they were honest people. When they were very desperate, for example, they were traveling, they were going to Hajj or Umrah or Ziyarah, they lost everyone, they were going to die without any food, any water, under heat, many reports. And they asked Imam alayhi salam to help, they received help. Some of our Maraja in very desperate time, they received help. But is this arbitrary? Is this something that happens by chance? No. There is a very clear procedure, and everyone acts according to that procedure, receives the same treatment. There is nothing by chance. It's impossible that you are in the same condition and then once your dua is accepted, another time your dua is not accepted. It's impossible. If it's the same condition, every time you receive the same response. So, we should never be despaired, and indeed, problems should increase our hope for intervening and intervention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Imam alayhi salam. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرَضِينَ كَانَتَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدٍ رَتْقًا ثُمَّ اتَّقَى اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَ لَهُ مِنْهُمَا مَخْرَجًا. If skies and earth for a servant of Allah are very tight and closed, it seems there is no way out. So much pressure is squeezing me. I cannot, I don't know if you had this experience. Sometimes problems are so much, you feel you cannot even, breathe properly, especially when it's a matter of your honor and dignity. Sometimes you feel you cannot breathe. So much pressure. Amirul Mu'mineen says, if the skies and the earth for a servant are so tight, but he or she remains muttaqi, ثُمَّ اتَّقَى اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَ لَهُ مِنْهُمَا مَخْرَجًا. Allah will make for him a way out. This is actually Quran. Amirul Mu'mineen is inspired by Quran. مَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهُ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever is muttaqi, Allah will provide him with a solution, with a way out. In another hadith, Amirul Mu'minin said, إِذَا اشْتَدَّ الْفَزَعُ فَإِلَى اللَّهِ الْمَفْزَعُ. If difficulty is very intense and you need to scream for help, if you need shelter and refuge, then you must go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't need to wonder where to go. Is there any solution? If there is, where is it? You have all the answer. Just go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaykh Kulayni narrates from Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, ما من بلاء ينزل على عبد مؤمن فيلهمه الله عز وجل الدعاء إلا كان كشف ذلك البلاء طويلا فإذا نزل البلاء فعليكم بالدعاء والتضرع إلى الله. There is no dua, no problem that happens to a servant that Allah inspires him to do dua unless that dua will help to solve the problem quickly. And if in the time of difficulty you forget or you don't remember, you don't feel making dua, that is the time that the bala is going to become long. So a sign to see whether this bala is a bala that it has quick solution or not is whether you are given tawfiq to do dua or not. If a bala comes and we all are praying and asking Allah for help, it's a good sign. If a bala comes and become too busy that we don't do dua, or we become hopeless, we don't do dua, that is very worrying. That's very worrying. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, هل تعرفون طول البلاء من قصره? Do you know how to distinguish whether bala is going to take long or be short? قلنا لا. Narrator says, we said we don't know. Imam said, إذا ألهم أحدكم الدعاء عند البلاء فاعلموا أن البلاء قصير. If in the time of calamity you are inspired to do dua, you must know that this dua is not going to take long, it's not going to last. In another hadith, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far says, these are the hadiths that the late Sayyid Ali Khan al-Madani mentions as commentary for this dua that we are going to. So at the beginning he mentions this beautiful hadith for this dua of Sahifa Sajjadiya. Imam Kazim alayhi salam says, Ad-du'a'u lillah wa talabu ila Allah yaruddul bala. When you pray for Allah and ask Him for help, this can remove calamity. وَقَدْ قُدِّرَ وَقُضِيَ. Even if this bala is already something which is in divine decree, is decided, وَلَمْ يَبْغَ إِلَّا الْإِمْضَاءِ. So everything is planned according to the factors that are there. This is the qadha of Allah. And inshallah later I explain. It doesn't mean that these calamities necessarily are planned by Allah, but because we believe in Tawheed Af'ali, at the end everything that happens must be signed, must be permitted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this dua is part of qaza of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part of qaza and taqdeer. The only thing is imza, is to let it go. Even at this stage, with dua you can stop it. يرد البلاء وقد قدر وقضي ولم يبق إلا الإمضاء فإذا دعا الله عز وجل وسأل صرف البلاء صرفه. If at this very last moment everything is already planned, you ask Allah to turn away this bala, Allah will turn it away. Ayatollah Sayyid Ahmad Fihri has also a commentary on Sahifa Sajjadiya, and he mentions a nice story from Rumi. Rumi says that there was a mosque that everyone who was staying in that mosque overnight was killed. So this was Masjid Adam Kush. So this masjid had the reputation that kills people. If you go there and stay there, you will be losing your life. So he says, هر که دروی بی خبر چون کور رفت صبح دم چون اختران در گور رفت. Whoever was not aware and blindly, without knowing, was going in that masjid and staying overnight, next day, in the same way that stars all disappear, this person was also disappearing, was dying. Gur means grave. So like stars who disappear, he says like stars dying, he was dying. So no one was brave enough to stay in this masjid. Everyone was worried. Then there was a person who was very determined and very brave and very strong. And he said, I'm going to stay in this masjid tonight. People told him, don't go there. He said, no, I want to go there. And whatever they advised him, he said, I don't need your advice. So when he went in masjid, in the night he heard very dangerous sounds in the masjid that everyone could have heart attack, But this man barjahido bang barzad kekia haziram inak agar mardi bia. He also shouted and said, I am ready. You want to fight me? I fight you back. I'm not going to run away. I am not going to die. He challenged. در زمان بشکست زاواز آن طلسم زر همی ریزید هر سو قسم قسم. He says this was a telesm. I don't know if you know telesm. Sometimes some magicians make a telesm, means make something, a magic that no one can, be in a place, no one can do something. There is a telesm. Every telesm has also anti-telesm. So you can break it. This telesm just needed someone to challenge, not to run away. And as soon as this person said, I am ready, you can come and we fight, it was finished. And then from everywhere gold came to this person. So he had lots of gold. پر شد آن مسجد ز زر. زر means gold. پر شد آن مسجد ز زر هر جایگاه. Every place of masjid was filled with gold. مرد حیران شد ز تقدیر اله. Then he was surprised about plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then Rumi wants to say this masjid is actually dunya. In dunya, those who are worried and afraid of challenges and problems, they want to run away from problems, they cannot reach that goal. But if you say, I am here, I don't run away, I face challenges, challenges will run away. Someone has to run away, either you or challenges. This is the nature of this world. So you have to be brave and stand in your position, put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you will get a lot. Something that you can never get through ordinary circumstances. Okay, now let's go to dua number 7. Ya man tuhallu bihi uqadul makarih. This is the dua of Imam alayhi salam when there were difficulties, when he was facing life is very difficult for himself and also for, training other people. Oh, the one bihi, with him, by him, the knots of detested things are untied. Uqdah, nafathat fil uqad. In Quran we have uqad is plural for uqdah. Uqdah is the tie. We say in Farsi gereh, tie. Sometimes makare means things which are disliked. They are somehow fixed, like a tie. It's fixed. It's not something that easily I can pass it. I need to untie. Yes? If there is a thread, I can just pass it. But if it's a tie, I need to open it. Otherwise, this remains always a problem. So, all the one with him or through him, these knots of detested things are untied. وَيَا مَنْ يُفْثَأُ بِهِ حَدُّ الشَّدَائِدِ. Hadda is sharpness. When there is a, for example, sword or knife, it's very sharp. Difficulties sometimes are very sharp. It's as if they are cutting. Very difficult to resist. If something, for example, a stone, a rock is coming towards me, I can somehow resist. But if something very sharp like a knife comes and pressurizes, it's very difficult. We are not able to, resist. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that when He intervenes, the sharpness, the cutting edge of hardship is blunted. Ya man yultamasu minhu al-makhraj ila rawh al-faraj. Oh, the one from whom the way out is asked, coming out of problem to rawh al-faraj, to the joy and freshness of relief. So it's like someone who is in a room under fire finds a way out to go to a garden. 180-degree difficulty. Rawh al-faraj. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala solves your problem, then it's not just the problem is solved. You feel you are refreshed. You feel you are energized. Imagine, for example, if someone has cancer and then his cancer is healed, he's not just not sad, he's extra happy that now my cancer is healed. ذَلَّتْ لِقُدْرَتِكَ الصِّعَابِ. Because of your power, those things which are sa'b, which are difficult, they become very manageable. They become very gentle. Dhalla is like dhalil, yeah, means humiliated, someone who has no dignity. But for problems, dhalla means they become manageable. They become something that we can control. وَتَسَبَّبَتْ بِلُطْفِكَ الْأَسْبَابِ. Because of your lutf, your favor, all the causes are working and functioning. Everything that is operating and functioning, everything that is benefiting us. Who is musabbibul asbab? If you have something to eat, something to drink, something to cover yourself, everything that you have has a cause. But don't just look this much. Go higher and see who is arranging these causes, who is beyond and the ultimate cause. وَجَرَى بِقُدْرَتِكَ الْقَضَاءِ. And because of your power, the decree is into effect. وَمَذَتْ عَلَى إِرَادَتِكَ الْأَشْيَاءِ. And everything is happening because of your will. Nothing in this world happens without His will. Of course, Allah doesn't need us to tell Him this. It's very clear that when we say this, it means that we are reminding ourselves. We are renewing our understanding of Tawheed in every aspect, especially Tawheed Af'ali, that everything is an action of God and everything is through the will of God. So we are not talking to someone that just feels sorry for us. You know, sometimes I come to you and tell my problems. It's good, you say, I am sad, I really feel you are sad for me. That's a comfort. But Allah is not like this. Allah is the one who has everything in His hand. فَهِيَ بِمَشِيَّتِكَ دُونَ قَوْلِكَ مُؤْتَمَرَةً. Everything functions according to His will. Therefore, everything is taking your command and follows your command even without you telling them. Allah doesn't need to issue a statement or say something so that they listen to Him. As soon as He wants, this happens. Even when Quran says, إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَنْ يَقُولَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. Yeah, whenever He wants something, He says, be, and there it is. But you should not take this in the sense that He has to say kun. He doesn't need to say kun. This means that, because this is a way to analyze and help us understand different stages for Allah's decision-making procedure. But you should not think that He has to say kun. When His will is finalized, then they happen. There is no need for formal statement to come after that. وَبِإِرَادَتِكَ دُونَ نَهْيِكَ مُنْزَجِرَةً. When you tell them to do something without you actually commanding in formal way, they will do it. And when you ask them not to do, you don't need to stop them. Just if you want them not to do, they cannot do it. Even Allah doesn't need to tell them stop. In Aqaid, you remember we had this example. If you think about images in your mind, we said this is something that Allah says is very helpful to understanding relation between cause and effect. If someone in your mind, you imagine someone is walking. You don't need to tell him walk and then he walks. As soon as you decide that this person walks, he walks. If you decide doesn't walk, he doesn't walk. You don't need to go and say, why you are not stopping? I decided you to stop. Why you are still going? As soon as you want that person to stop, he would stop. There is no way for him to exercise his choice against your will. He can exercise his choice against other people that you have in mind, but not against you. أنت المدعو للمهمات. You are the one that is called upon for muhimmat. Muhimma in Arabic sometimes means mission. But basically, literally, muhimma means something which is concerning you. From ham. Ahammani. If something is concerning me, that is my muhimma. Okay? And missions are called muhimma because when they are given to you as a task, now you have the concern to deliver your mission. أنت المدعو للمهمات. You are the one who is called upon for those things which are concerning and worrying. وأنت المفزع في الملمات. And you are the one that we can go for help when calamities come. Alamma in Arabic, alamma yulimmu, when something comes down. It is used for calamities when they, fall and come down. لا يندفع منها إلا ما دفعت. None of them is repelled unless you repel them. So I have come to someone who has full control and is the only one who has control. So I am very clear. I don't go anywhere else to waste my time. If I go to anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am wasting my time. I do all my own part. So it's not that when there is disease, we just make dua. When there is disease, we take all the measures which are needed rationally. Health, hygiene, anything, we do it. But we know this is a small part of it. We do it better than anyone else when it comes to this small part. But we know the major success comes after this between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, لا يندفع منها إلا ما دفعت. None of these are going to be repelled unless you repel them. ولا ينكشف منها إلا ما كشفت. Nothing is going to be removed unless you remove and what you remove. So I have this clear understanding of your role in the world, especially when it comes to problems. I know that you have the full control, no one else, and you can stop any problem. Now, وَقَدْ نَزَلَ بِي يَا رَبِّي. From this point on, I get into my own problem. So far was general. وَقَدْ نَزَلَ بِي يَا رَبِّي مَا قَدْ تَكَأَدَنِي ثِقْلُهُ وَأَلَمَّ بِي مَا قَدْ بَحَضَنِي حَمْلُهُ. Now, something has come down upon me, my Lord, whose weight burdens me. تَكَأَدَ. Something which is very heavy to carry. This is not a small problem. I feel I am challenged. I feel I am desperate. It's too difficult to carry. In Imam Ali's sayings, we have about challenges of, Day of Judgment. إِنَّ أَمَامَكُمْ عَقَبَةً كَعُودًا. Ka'ud and taka'ada have the same root. Aqabatan ka'uda means the difficult turning point that you have to pass. Taka'ada means very difficult and heavy is this problem for me to carry. وَأَلَمَّ بِي مَا قَدْ بَحَضَنِي حَمْلُهُ. And upon me has fallen something whose carrying oppresses me. وَبِقُدْرَتِكَ أَوْرَدْتَهُ عَلَيْهِ. And with your power, you have brought this down to me. وَبِسُلْطَانِكَ وَجَّهْتَهُ إِلَيَّ. And through your authority and sovereignty, you have turned it towards me. فَلَا مُصْدِرَ لِمَا أَوْرَدْ. There is nothing that can send away what you have brought. وَلَا صَارِفَ لِمَا وَجَّهْتَ. And nothing can deflect what you have turned. وَلَا فَاتِحَ لِمَا أَغْلَقْتَ. Nothing can open what you have closed. Fath means to open. Ighlaq means to close. Qallaqat al-abwab, about Zulaykha when he closed the doors. So anything that you close, no one can open. وَلَا مُغْلِقَ لِمَا فَتَحْتَ. And if you open, no one can close. وَلَا مُيَسِّرَ لِمَا عَسَّرْتَ. If you make something difficult, no one can make it easy. وَلَا نَاصِرَ لِمَنْ خَذَلْتَ. And there is no helper when you leave someone without help. If you don't want someone to receive help, no one is going to help that person. فَصَلَّ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِهِ. So he says salutation and then he continues. I leave the rest for next session, but I just want to finish with one point. When we say to Allah that you with your power brought this problem and no one can take it away from me except you, this is based on our understanding of Tawheed. If you don't get it right, you may think, why Allah has caused this problem to us? Why, we should suffer? Why there must be, drought, famine, illness, war? No, be clear. This is for our understanding of Tawheed. Even if someone irresponsible does something bad to me, I know that this still is part of the whole system, that Allah is in charge. Because if you don't have this mentality, then you think, okay, why I should ask Allah for help? This person has caused the problem and I cannot do anything because I have no power over that person. We say, even the most vicious people, the most tyrant people, or the most, vicious viruses or germs or whatever, they are small parts of this world. And He is responsible for the whole thing, and nothing can run away or override His will. So, this is the meaning that's saying that you brought this to me. Not in the sense that He has a bad intention for me, He wants to harm me. No, in the sense that I know this is your world, your system. These are very small particles in your magnificent world. So I am not in wrong place when I ask you for help. This is the understanding of mu'min. Not that, na'udhu billah, Allah is, trying to annoy us or, put us into difficulties. Yes, there are times that maybe Allah has a special plan for you, but most of the tests that we go through are not there except because we or some other people have put us into these difficulties. It's not that Allah wanted me to become poor, Allah wanted me to become ill. Most of the time, there are natural or human factors that lead to having these problems, but what is important, they are part of His system, and He is fully in charge of this system. So you can always go to Him to ask for help, but in the right manner, not by doing nothing, not by putting blame on Him, just by understanding your limits, your role, and being 100% hopeful that when it's the right time, he would always come and help you. He has no hesitation for helping except wisdom that he has in the whole system. You cannot all the time with your little knowledge or with your impatience, excite him and pressurize him, like a child, sometimes cries and, we lose our control and we do something that later we say, I shouldn't do this. But Allah is not influenced by our impatience, but if there is a right time and he feels I am really desperate, he would certainly help. But it must be right time and with your sign of really asking for help. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help all of us, especially with respect to those things that challenge our iman, challenge our akhlaq, challenge our family, community life. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you very much. We are limited for time today, so maybe we'll just take one question. Maybe we can see, are there any sisters who have any questions? Or brothers?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Just a quick question. Is there a particular reason why he brings the blessing the Prophet here in the middle of the dua?
Yes. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam many times in Sahifa brings salawat. More than 100, I think 140, 180 times. And the reason is because salawat is a dua which is accepted. And then if you bring salawat with other du'as, inshallah, those du'as also will be accepted, because some, say that Allah is more merciful than accepting one and rejecting one. Like in Farsi we have, this expression when you sometimes you go to a grocery to buy something. For example, apple. Sometimes people choose and pick up. Sometimes shopkeeper says, darham bebar. Darham bebar means take everything. You cannot pick. So we take our hajat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we say, please darham bebar, means take all our hajat together, not pick up and say, okay, salawat I accept, but next one I don't accept. No. If you manage to get one of your du'as accepted, inshallah he would accept the rest.
If it's a short question, maybe we can take one.
Sorry, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. So to what extent, so I know you said that, what is the cause of the problem you were talking about? Is it something you've done to cause the problem? So to what extent, if you feel that it's something you've done, do you take responsibility yourself to try and solve it? Or obviously Allah controls everything, but how do you balance that? Do you always, for every single thing is that the aim, to like every single thing in your life you ask Allah for help with? Or do you sort of try and do most tasks through your iman, through yourself, and then when you really need him, then ask?
Because if there is a problem, first we should stop the problem from the root. Yeah? So for example, if there is a leakage in the pipeline in my home, I have to first make sure that I find where is the leakage and stop it, and then repair the home. If I start repairing without fixing, it's not going to solve. So if my bad attitude, my bad treatment, my bad akhlaq, my carelessness, my laziness, my, diet, whatever is causing this problem, first I should find out my role and stop that. And then do tawbah. And then I continue with asking Allah for help to now solve the problem, to fix the problem. But if I don't acknowledge my role, this means that problem is continuing. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Sheikh, once again. We'll need all of your cooperation, inshallah, to have a very short break. Maybe we can just collect our tabarruk and come back for class number 2. Sheikh has very kindly provided these laminated kind of posters. The title is Bathroom Etiquette. There's a limited copy. There's about 40, I think, so maybe one per household or one per family. There's one on the gents' side and one on the ladies' side as well. As you know, next week there's no class. Inshallah, we'll be resuming the week after next.
This is gifted by a brother from Australia, so may Allah give them tawfiq. I thought you are the people I want to share with you, so may Allah bless.
So inshallah, a very short break, and if we can return back to our seats for class 2.
Unfortunately, the first part I had not pressed. Is it recorded? Yeah.
Yeah, I told Sayyid Uncle to record.
Because otherwise we missed 15, 20 minutes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you, sir?
Nice to see you.
Very nice to see you. May Allah bless you, inshallah.
Do we stop the recording and start again?
So it was recording this whole session? This whole session was recorded, right?
Yeah. No, I stopped and started.
Very good. Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
You know, first I started, then I stopped, then I forgot to. So then I have to merge, inshallah. When they put it online? Immediately?
Day after it.
I'm there.
You can ask them.
Yeah. Because now I thought this is good to be out for this dua.
I'll try and think of it. So you have tea or
Whatever.
you prefer, whichever you prefer.
Tea is
Tea is good.
Yes. Hojati.